Hello, my name is Nicholas Lavoy,
And I'm Alan White.
and our project is on fan attendance to NFL football games. So, for our research question, it was how do certain factors contribute to the number of fans that attend NFL football games? And the factors that we chose were weather conditions, game time, and team performance, and how they influence that fan attendance. We chose this research question in order to understand the factors that influence fan attendance in the NFL and the significant implications that they can have for NFL teams and the league as a whole. By identifying which variables are most strongly correlated with attendance, teams can use info like this to make strategic decisions about pricing, marketing, and stadium design in order to maximize revenue and enhance the fan experience. Additionally, the league can use this info to make decisions about scheduling and other policies that impact attendance. Most importantly, the statistics that we gathered were from 21 out of the 32 NFL teams, those 21 teams all having outdoor stadiums. This ensured an accurate representation of the variables and data that we used. For our hypothesis, we expected that weather conditions will have a significant impact on fan attendance, with games that are played in extreme temperatures resulting in a lower fan attendance. We also anticipated that games played during prime time, which was evening and late afternoon, will have a higher fan attendance. And for teams who are favored to win, the data will show a higher fan attendance as well. For our data description, here's a link for our data. This data consisted of every NFL team and every NFL game for the 2021 and 2022 NFL season. The variables that are used were as followed: game attendance, which was our continuous numerical response variable, and explain the number of fans in attendance at each team's home game for those 21 teams that we used in an outdoor stadium. One of our explanatory variables was time of game, which was categorical. It was categorized as either afternoon, late afternoon, or evening. Our other explanatory variable that was categorical was favored to win, 0 being not favored to win and 1 being favored to win. Our last explanatory variable was weather, under temperature, which we described as Fahrenheit. We had 168 observations for our data.
So here's our linear regression analysis. As you can see by the equation, the constant for attendance is 67,960 people. 1 degree increase in temperature was associated with a minus 44.8 people in attendance. If the team is favored to win, is associated with a 1,457 increase in attendance. Time of game being the evening was associated with a 920 person increase in attendance, and time of game being late afternoon was associated with a 4,960 person increase in attendance. As you can see by the coefficients, got the confidence interval, the p-values. P-value less than 0.05 indicates significance, and p-value of greater than 0.05 indicates no significance. So as seen, the constant and the game being late afternoon has significant effect on the data. And weather, favored to win, and time of game being evening had a very limited effect on the data. And we also have our model summary. So for the results, based off the p-value of less than 0.05 and the magnitude of coefficient for late afternoon games, it's apparent that late afternoon is the only variable that has a significant effect on fan attendance. This observation agrees with our hypothesis that later games will lead to a higher level of fan attendance. For weather, and whether a team is favored to win, the p-values are greater than 0.05, and the confidence intervals for the coefficients contain 0. This indicates there is no statistical significance between these variables and fan attendance. These outcomes went against our hypothesis. The R-squared value indicates that our model can account for 12.72% of the variance in the dependent variable, suggesting that the regression model is not a good fit for our data. Our adjusted R-squared value of 10.58% indicates multiple independent variables, since it's lower than our R-squared value. This value also suggests that our model might not be a good fit for the data. So here we have our graphs and plots. We have our histogram, which has a slight skew to the left, and that is our frequency versus residuals, and we have a scatter plot of residuals versus weather. Very scattered data, no real correlation. Then we have our scatter plot of residual versus attendance, positive linear graph, as you can see. Additional analysis, our scatter plot residuals versus weather shows no correlation between weather and attendance. The data is random independent. The histogram of frequency versus residuals is roughly unimodal, but has a skew to the left. This shows that there is a nonlinear relationship between the predictors and response variable. And the scatter plot residuals versus attendance is very linear, shows that lower attendance yield a lower, more negative residual, while higher attendance yield more positive residuals.
In conclusion, based off the graphs and tables that we created and analyzed, we can conclude that the time of day of when the game is played does have a significant impact on the attendance of fans to NFL games, more specifically late afternoon games. Weather and who is favored to win is not a good predictor of game attendance. As for late afternoon games, having games scheduled during this time can lead to strategic decisions that can maximize fan attendance and increase revenue for the team and the league. However, it can still be noted that the results should be interpreted to which other factors not included in the analysis could also be used to affect attendance, and further research may be needed to confirm the findings.